Hey there and welcome to this review of the Gleim CPA review course. My name is Brandon Vagner. I'm a CPA, I'm a PhD, I'm a former KPMG manager, I'm an accounting professor, and I'm also the founder of CPAexamsuccess.com, which is a website that's geared towards all types of tips and strategies and resources and video series to help CPA exam candidates pass the CPA exam and to help them do it quickly. Now this video, like I said, it is all about the Gleim CPA review. So here in just 1 second, I'm going to dive into the software and I'm going to show you all the different attributes, the benefits, maybe some things to consider about Gleim CPA review. And before we do that, I always advise to CPA exam candidates to test drive these CPA review courses before they actually make that big purchase. So if you're on YouTube, below in the description, you'll find a link to the free trial access. If you're on my website, it's either going to be above or below this video. And then if there's a discount, I'll also have a link to that discount and try and save you guys as much money as possible. So with that being said, I know you guys are going to get a lot out of this video, so let's just dive on in and let's check out the Gleim CPA review.
All right, everybody, so we're in the Gleim CPA review software now, and I actually selected the financial accounting and reporting section to just kind of give you guys a guide through. And the first thing that you'll come across is they really throw in your face here the recommendation boxes, and it just speaks to how much they're pushing this adaptive technology, and the fact that they are going to be making these personal recommendations for you. And just like they mentioned here in this box, it's designed to take the guesswork out of your studies and to help you get the right knowledge you need to pass the exam. And that's really what adaptive learning is all about. And I've talked about this in some of my other videos. One of the things that you really have to watch out for out there is, what degree do these CPA review courses take with regards to adaptive learning technology, because they're not all created equal when it comes to that. And I've mentioned before that there are some companies that really take it to the next level, and then there are other companies that are somewhat stuck in the old ways. They will mention that they have adaptive learning technology, but does it really actually put you on a custom path? And not only that, once you're on that custom path, does it assess your progress and your strengths and your weaknesses and continually put you on a custom path? And so I just wanted to point out that to you guys, because right off the bat, they're pointing out that you're going to see these personalized recommendations as you move through. So let's go ahead and click next. All right, and so the first thing that Gleim is going to prompt you to do is establish your study plan. And this is so incredibly important, and I really like to see CPA review courses actually put you on a study plan. And so they're taking into consideration your needs, your schedule, and they're making sure that they're figuring out, the optimal path for you. And so what you'd want to do is go ahead and select setup here. All right, and so immediately off the bat, you're prompted with, where they're saying, hey, let's go ahead and create your study plan. So yes, start the setup. So the first thing it's going to ask you for is to select the date you want to start studying. So we're just going to go ahead and leave that as today there, but if you needed to change that, you could easily get in that menu and make a change. Then you're going to select your exam date. And so what I'm going to do, since this is financial, I'm actually going to put this out at about 5 weeks. So let's do April 7th. That's fine. So that's the selected date. And then, all right, so this is really important to your success on the CPA exam, is to really think through and identify, what are the days that you're not going to be studying. And my courses, when I say courses, the courses that I have that, talk about how to actually achieve CPA exam success. So when it comes to planning and figuring out, your schedule and just getting everything dialed in before you actually start studying, and not just before you start studying, but as you're studying, making adjustments, one really key thing is to identify a day where you can just go have fun. So, for me, what I like to do is Saturdays, I don't study on Saturdays. Keep in mind, I've already passed the CPA exam, but if I were to be taking it again, I would not be studying on Saturdays, and that's really the approach that I took as I was taking the CPA exam. So I would click that Saturday, and then I would go up here and I would go to the following month, and I would just click every single Saturday that I know I'm not going to be studying. All right, and maybe there's a day in there where, you've got maybe a wedding to go to, or you've got some other business trip or whatever it is, and you already know that's on your calendar and you can't study. You'd absolutely want to select that as well. All right, and so this is a really big point too. Selecting the number of hours that you can study each week or each day of the week. And I highly advise all CPA candidates to really think through, how much time are they really actually going to be able to study. You may say you want to study 6 hours, but in reality, you're finding that it really only should be 4 hours. And so you really, really want to think through this before you actually set up your study plan. But here is where you would set up how many hours a day you can study. And so what I'm just going to go through here is I'm just going to go ahead and haphazardly put 6 hours a day in, except for Saturday. That's the day I take off. All right, and here it's just giving you an overview. So if you need to make corrections, you can go back and make corrections. But we'll just go ahead and hit next here. All right, and so the next step for you then, once we hit continue, is going to be to customize your settings, and that's to really customize and adjust for the level of support and the guidance that you can receive from the personal counselor that you actually get when you purchase a Gleim CPA review course. So let's go ahead and hit continue. All right, so this is a feature of Gleim that I really, really like. There's a lot of features that I like about Gleim. This one I think is fantastic. They're asking you, when do you want to be notified? And, so they understand that it's really important if you're getting off track that somebody try and get you back on track. But maybe you're somebody who you just don't want to be reached out to. You kind of know that you're going to have, some things go on throughout the next 6 to 7 weeks. And for whatever reason, you just don't want people contacting you. And that's fine. You don't have to select these options. But I highly recommend that people actually select these options, especially this first one. If you're off schedule, do you want them to notify you? And so this is select the option below to notify you via email. So absolutely, I'm going to check that yes and hit continue. All right, and this just kind of takes it to the next level. They're asking you, would you actually like a periodic phone call from a personal counselor, to follow up on your studies? And again, this I think is just really important because there are some people out there, they don't really have an inner circle of people to study with. They don't have people to bounce questions off of, or they're not comfortable bouncing questions on an online forum format, and they actually want somebody to kind of be there with them through the whole process. And so I really like this idea, and absolutely, I would hit yes to. I would like to receive that periodic phone call. And here, this is, Gleim taking advantage of technology. And, do you want to actually get text messages, for reminders regarding important due dates within your study plan? And, everybody, at least most people that I know, are attached at the hip with their phone. So, yeah, I would want to know through text messaging if there's something important coming up. So, yeah, I would select yes for that. All right, and here's what's really neat about that is you can customize what text message you're getting when you're getting those text messages. You can see here that, it asks you, please select the notifications you'd like to receive, reminders that a study unit is due, notifications missed due date, exam reminders, and then down here, when's the time that you would actually like those alerts to be sent to you. So really, really important stuff. I'm not going to enter in my cell phone information there, so we're just going to hit. Alrighty, the next customizable option is, do you actually want to complete the study units in a sequential order? And, for me personally, no, that's not necessarily important to me. I want to be put on a custom path. And so for this, I'm going to go ahead and select no. And then this, of course, is just notifying you that you can actually make changes to that study planner at any time you want. So we're just going to go ahead and hit start course. All right, so the first thing that I want to point out here, once we've said that we're going to go ahead and start the course, is we've got this notification up here, and it's recommending that you work within Study Unit 1 now. So Study Unit 1, as we scroll down, is the financial reporting environment, and you can see here there's just this nice, easy to use green, Start Study Unit 1 button there. But let's just kind of scroll down here, and you can see all the different study units that you would have within the far section, and then down here you get to exam rehearsal, and then the final review. And so one thing that I want to point out here is how modern Gleim CPA review looks, not only from this kind of dashboard perspective, but also once we get in the course, really take note of that. They put a lot of time and effort into trying to redesign the course to where it's just aesthetically very pleasing, and I think that they did a really good job. And so what we would do, and what you would do if you were in here, is you would just hit Start Study Unit 1. All right, guys, and so the first thing that you'll notice here is a diagnostic quiz. So I touched on adaptive learning in the beginning, and I'll mention it again. So adaptive learning, you're going to be put on a custom path, and so you're going to take this diagnostic quiz, and it's going to assess your strengths and your weaknesses, and then it's going to put you on a custom path, based upon those strengths and weaknesses. So you could be taking, the Gleim CPA review course, and your best friend could be taking the Gleim CPA review course, but depending upon how your strengths and weaknesses stack up compared to your friend, you're going to have a completely different path within Gleim CPA review, and that's so incredibly important and just huge for your overall success on the CPA exam. So let's just go ahead and let's just start the quiz so you get an idea of what the quiz is going to look like. All right, so I'm really glad that we're actually doing this review right now because it gives you an idea of how on top of it Gleim CPA review is and how important it is for them that you're getting the best of the best CPA review quality. And so basically what this screen is telling you is that the AI CPA, that they've announced a redesign of the official CPA exam experience, and so that's going to be changing. And what Gleim, really likes to do is they want to make sure that you're practicing within an environment that mirrors what the actual CPA exam is going to be like for you. And so depending upon when you're taking your next part, so if it's after April 1st, you're going to get that new redesigned CPA exam software. If you're taking it before April 1st, then you're going to be utilizing the current CPA exam software. And you have a choice here. You can actually, make a choice between, do you want to utilize the current CPA exam software design, or do you want to utilize the redesigned CPA software? And that just goes to show you, Gleim is really, really on top of it, and they're making sure that you're getting the experience within the software that you need to help you feel comfortable when you actually get to your official CPA exam date. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to select the redesigned CPA software. All right, and so here you can see you're inside your quiz now, your diagnostic, right? So remember, this is going to assess you and figure out your strengths and your weaknesses for this individual study unit. And you can see over here on the left, you've got 24 minutes remaining. You see that you've got a calculator that you can access. So there you go, you can pull that up at any point. You can access Excel. So if you want to launch Microsoft Excel, you can certainly do that. I'm not going to right now just for time purposes. We'll close out though. All right, so you can see here also that you've got 19 questions. So if you wanted to get an overview of those questions right here, you can just select get the overview, and if you wanted to, you could select any one of these questions and go right to it. And of course, if you need help, you've got a help option button there. And then obviously after you complete your answers, you're going to hit submit the testlet over here. And so let's just haphazardly, here's your question. Let's just kind of move through it. We're just going to select A for all of these. All right, so I'll be right back. I'm just going to go ahead and haphazardly select a bunch of answers, and then submit this testlet, and then we'll see you guys after the diagnostic. All right, so once you're done with that diagnostic quiz, you're going to get your results here. And so let's just kind of see how one can do if they just select A for every single answer. So number of questions, that was 19. You can see the average time per question was about 12 seconds. That's because we talked a long time on that first one. But you actually 21%, that's kind of what I expected it might be. But you can see here, and this is what's really great about the diagnostic, and especially if you take your diagnostic seriously, is it's going to give you a breakdown within each subunit. So, how are you performing within individual, subunits within the overall unit? And you can see here that, there were 2 questions assigned to the majority of these subunits. And, so for, let's see, 1.3 and 1.4, 50% of them. My guess is that if you're taking this diagnostic seriously, you're probably going to have 3 to 4 of these, maybe probably more like 3, where you're going to be getting 100%. And then that kind of tells you that, hey, that's maybe an area that I'm really strong in, and maybe I don't need to focus a whole lot of my studying energy there. That's not always necessarily the case, and That's why it really takes a sophisticated system to kind of assess you along the way. But this is going to help Gleim put you on that custom path, and you can see how they do it. So they would take this, overall this quiz diagnostic, and really try and customize your path. And so that's essentially the diagnostic. And let's just go ahead and hit the review quiz. So after you've submitted your quiz, after you've kind of looked at your overall results, you can go back through and you can analyze your quiz. And so you can easily see here how nice and easily usable the software is. It absolutely tells you that A for number 1 was incorrect, but then it also tells you, here's the correct answer, click to reveal explanations. And so you do that and you get a nice explanation of the correct answers. But not only that, you could see with the incorrect answer, there was an explanation attached to that as well. And I talk about that in on my website. That it's really big that you understand why the incorrect answers are incorrect. And that really helps you achieve CPA exam success. All right, so let's go ahead and end that review then. All right, now after you do your diagnostic, you're brought to this page. And this is kind of your overall kind of driving dashboard of where you're going to go, what you're going to do next. And keep in mind, Gleim's telling you along the way what they recommend that you do. And so we saw that box in the beginning. So here's that box here right off the bat. So they're saying we recommend that you read the sections of the digital book for a deeper understanding of your weak areas. And so notice that they're not just immediately pointing you to watch lecture videos. They're pointing you to the book outlines, to get a better understanding of those areas where you're weak. And so it's specifically telling you and guiding you in what's going to be the fastest and the most effective way for you to get the knowledge that you need to get. And so as we scroll down, you can see here's your option to read the book outline. You also could go watch lecture videos if you wanted to. And what I also really, really like, down here at the bottom, you'll see that there's an option to listen to audios. So if you're busy, maybe you've got an hour and a half commute to work, you can easily just listen to these audios, and it just makes life really, really easy. Also, if you've got an hour lunch, if you're one of the lucky ones, then you can just pop that in while you're eating lunch and just get a quick listen. So it is recommending that we go into the digital book. So let's just go ahead and click on that. All right, so they're giving you suggested learning areas. Now, keep in mind, this is tailored based upon your diagnostic that we just did and we walked through. So you can see here, they've laid out for you all the areas that you should be touching on to really get a deep understanding. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and click this digital outline here. And you're going to read through the digital outline. And you're going to get an understanding of this individual topic area. Relatively short, right? So it's not that long. Some of them are going to be obviously longer than others, but really nice and easily just laid out for you there. So let's go ahead and continue then to the focus questions. And so that's really big. It's focusing you in on questions where you're struggling. And so then after you read that outline, they want to get an idea for how has your knowledge around that subject area changed after reading the outline. And so let's just go ahead and just haphazardly click the first option for each of these. It automatically tells you yes or no, and so that's really nice. It's very quick. That reduces your study time. You're not hitting an answer and then having to select another submit button. I really, really like that. And then it automatically tells you a reason and an explanation behind why it's incorrect. So let's just go ahead and click next here, and then let's select the first option for that as well. Again, immediately tells you whether or not you're correct or incorrect. Let's now do the third question here. Maybe true will be right for this one. No, they're all false. So as soon as you're done with that, it takes you to your next study unit. So it takes not your next study unit, but study unit subsection. And it's going to have you read through that particular outline. And again, look, nice, short, very brief, very compact, and I really like that. You can move through these subunits relatively quickly. And then you, again, just like the last one, continue to the focus questions. And then, so you can see here, now you've got 3 additional focus questions. And you would roll through those just like you did in the past subunit. And then once you're done doing all of reading through all of the outlines and then answering these individual these questions within the subunit, the system is going to get a better idea for, again, where are your weak areas. And so if you're reading through these outlines and then you're getting all of the questions incorrect, that's an indicator that you're obviously weak in that area, and the system is going to focus you in on that going forward. Now, if you're nailing three questions, the three questions after you read that outline, that's a strong indicator that maybe you just needed a quick overview, and you actually are pretty strong in that area. And then the system is going to adapt to that, and you're not going to see that as much going forward. And so that's really, really nice. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and return to the dashboard. And so this is, remember, is the dashboard within the individual subunit learning. And you can see here, you've got an idea, a nice overview of, hey, what have you completed? So, if you clicked on the outline, that's going to go ahead and darken in the blue, as well as the focus questions. And then, your suggested learning is going to be checked off. And so it's important, for you to kind of pay attention to this and just, be able to kind of have this high level, where am I at in the process and how much more do I actually have to complete. And so once you're done with all of that, you would go ahead and return to the learning. And so you would look up here and you would look at what your suggestion is. And so right now it's recommending that you proceed to the testing menu and follow the adaptive learning prompts there. So testing would be up here. So we've got learning over here on the left, your testing, your performance overviews, and then extras. So since it's recommending the testing menu, well, hang on, before we go to the testing menu, let me show you just kind of what the dashboards look like within the videos as well as the audio. So if you were prompted to watch a lecture video, or if you just wanted to go watch lecture videos, you would go ahead and click watch videos here. All right, so you can see how quickly the video popped up. There's not a lot of load time, which that's really nice. So you're not going to be wasting your time watching that load emblem on there, right? So that's really nice. It's also, the interface is just really compact and easy for you to use. And you can see over here on the right, you can click what subsections that you want to actually watch, and so you can easily just scroll down and get an idea for what your options are. And also, what I really like too is it gives you how long those individual videos are, and not just that, but they're compact. You look through here, you got a lot of, you got a 2-minute one right there, 8-minute, 11-minute. 6-minute here, so they're compact, and that's important for keeping your attention and helping you stay motivated. I do like that. You can also down here click play suggested videos only, so that goes back to being put on a custom path and what's suggested for you individually. So that means that you don't have to sit there and watch every single video like maybe you did say 10 years ago within certain CPA exam review softwares, and that's a really, really nice feature. So once you're done watching the videos, now we had mentioned before that the recommendation for us was to go into testing. So let's, before we actually go back into that testing, I do want to go back and I want to show you the audio option as well. So let's do that really quickly. All right, so we're back here. So if you do want to listen to the lectures from an audio perspective, you just go down here to this option, hit listen, and then here it is. It's very, very easy for you to just basically click play, and then you're listening to the lecture. So there it is, that easy. So you can just roll through these, especially if you've got that long commute like I mentioned earlier, or just if you like listening to audio lectures. Really, really nice. So with that being said, let's return to the learning, and let's go into the testing, because that would kind of be the next natural thing to do. And so within here, you've got your adaptive quizzes. So the recommendation up here is, you can see, again, follow the recommendations. We recommend that you take an adaptive quiz to practice answering multiple choice questions on topics that you are having difficulty in. And so that's the key thing. You're not going to be seeing what everybody else is seeing within that. So this is going to help you hone in on your weak areas and really, really strengthen those. And so you would just go into this adaptive quiz here and roll through that. Now the interface of that is going to look just like that initial diagnostic quiz. So there's really no reason for us to actually go into it. But within that quiz, you're going to see that you still get that official CPA exam software environment, and that's really, really nice. But the key thing is, as you're going through this adaptive quiz, and after you submit that quiz, your results for it, now you're going to be on an even more custom path, right? Because the system has more information about you and your strengths and your weaknesses, and obviously that should now be different as if you've already gone through and read through those outlines like it had suggested and I walked you through. So there's that. You also can go into, well, let's kind of stick with the quizzes before we talk about simulations. Down here, you've got the custom quiz. So you actually can customize your own quizzes if you want. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like. All right, so you have an option when you go in here to do this. You can create a practice exam. So you can see over there on the far right-hand side option. So you can create a practice exam, and so you're not going to be getting immediate feedback if you're doing that, versus the middle section here, which is create a study session. And you can see that gives you immediate feedback as you answer the questions. And so over here on the far right, you also can look at your performance analysis. So at this point, I think the natural thing would be to create a study session. All right, and once you're in there, you can customize it. And so you can see here the first thing is, whether or not you want to use the Gleim suggested approach or you want to do a customized exam option. So choosing unique questions, source, and more. But the key thing that you move down here is you can select your individual subunits. So if you know that you're strong in certain areas, or you want today maybe for whatever reason you want to hit income statement items and cash and investments, those are what you select. And then you can go down here and you can see what all your other options are. You would select those, and then you would have a custom study session. So if that's what your goal for the day was, to hit those certain sections, then you would come in here, you would easily create that, and off and running you are. And so that's essentially creating a customized study session. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to show you guys is the adaptive simulation. So let's go ahead and hit launch here. So very similar as to when we were trying to access the quiz, we were prompted with, kind of this user experience redesign, and what do you actually want to interface with. And so you have the option here to choose the new redesigned CPA software or the older, say the current CPA exam software. And so again, this just kind of speaks to the fact that Gleim CPA Review is really on top of it. And so trying to get you that simulation experience very similar to what you're going to get on the official CPA exam. So let's go ahead and click the redesigned CPA software. All right, and so once you're in this, you can see that, again, very similar to the actual kind of quiz, in that you've got a calculator up here that you can click on and you can access. You've got the Excel spreadsheet there, authoritative literature, so you can easily click within here, and you can see it's very, very easy to use. You've got a search here, so if you want to enter in, whatever it is that you want to search on, and then just hit search. You've got your various different tabs up here, so auditing, attestation, ethics, federal taxation, financial reporting. So again, very, very easy to utilize. And so I just typed in audit right there, and then you can see there all the search results pop up really nicely. So again, super, super easy for you to use. So then you've got the overview, and that's very similar to what I had shown you before, and the help, obviously, and then when you need to submit the testlet, that's over there on the right. Your time remaining is nicely displayed, nice and big up there. That I didn't mention before on the quiz. That's something that is important. Not a whole lot of people think about, whether or not your time option is there. Most all CPA review courses have that, but having it nice and large there from a design perspective is really important, because you need to be making sure that you're actually studying and you're moving through things at a pace that's similar to how you would need to move through it on the official CPA exam. So kind of keeping yourself in check as you're going through it is important. So then you can just kind of see here you've got a simulation, and down here at the bottom, you would actually click to select, and then you would select your certain whichever option it is that you want to go with. And so once you're done with that, you would just move on to the next question, and then once you move through all 5, you'd be done, and you'd go ahead and submit that testlet. All right, so the next thing that you could look at, or you would use if you were actually a student of Gleim CPA reviews, you would want to know your performance levels. And so here, up here, kind of on the main dashboard, you've got your performance. Let's go ahead and click on that. And so you can see here now. Keep in mind, I haven't rolled through this financial section in terms of multiple choice quizzes, and simulations. So there's not data. There's not a lot of data there for them to go off of, right? But this is how it would display for you. You'd have your multiple choice quizzes, so your last score, your simulations. You'd have quiz stats, simulation stats there. You'd have your overall averages for each one, and then it's just nicely laid out, just kind of this nice dashboard for you that you can utilize to have an idea of where you are and how you're doing, and keep in mind the system's going to be keeping you on track, so it's not like the old days where you have to really pay attention to what areas you're really excelling in and the ones that you're not, and then kind of make a custom path for yourself. You don't have to worry about that with Gleim CPA Review. They're going to be doing it for you through their adaptive learning system. And then we've got extras over here. So within that extras tab, you can kind of see there's not a whole lot in there, but additional tools. So the study planner, you can gain access to that, make changes as need be. Content update logs. So if there has been updates to the content, you can see those logs there. And then some PDF documents for you, core concepts, Appendix A, IFRS differences. You can see there's just a couple other things down there. So not a whole lot to those extras, but definitely there for you if you do need them. So you're going to be spending the majority of your time over here in the learning section for each individual study unit. So that's where they're going to be making those recommendations. Should you be reading the outline and answering those small assessments as you go through those outlines to see how you're doing. Should you be watching lecture videos, and then you've got also the audio down there, and that's where you're going to be kind of spending the majority of your time. And then of course, if we go back, recall that you've got that overall study unit listing, and this is going to give you an idea of where you're at for each one of those individual study units. And so you would just be rolling through those over the course of, say, the 4 to 6 weeks that you're going to be studying for financial section. And so that's really, really important. All right, so you've kind of seen the functionality of Gleim CPA Review. What do I think about Gleim? I think that they're a fantastic CPA review course. I believe currently, I think they have right around over 13,000 practice questions for you. That's a lot. There are definitely some CPA review courses that don't have that much. There's an argument to whether or not you need that much. My argument would be that there are certain people who need more questions than other people, and so you really have to kind of think about your own learning needs. What is it that you need? Maybe you're somebody that needs a lot of questions and a lot of practice. Gleim CPA Review absolutely has you covered from that perspective. Price-wise, they're affordable. You can go to my website, www.cpaexamsuccess.com, and you can check out the prices there. They're very affordable. They're definitely not the most expensive course that's out there, and I do like in terms of how they're priced. You get a lot for your money in terms of functionality, design-wise, quality. Their instructors, they definitely have some energy, and I always recommend to candidates that they need to go out and they need to do a free trial and to get an idea of the instructor personalities, and do those personalities match up to theirs, and are those personalities ones that they can watch for a few hours each day. And because you definitely want to make sure that you're getting one that fits you, and there are absolutely differences between the instructors out there, and so I do think that theirs are good, and overall I really like Gleim CPA Review. They've been around for a long time, and they're making changes and updates to their interface, and you can see with their investment into adaptive learning technology, not all companies are taking the plunge quite to the level that Gleim CPA Review is doing. There are some that certainly are, but Gleim is absolutely making an investment, and they're making sure that they're trying to give you the absolute highest quality of CPA exam review that they possibly can. And the interface design, as I mentioned, I think is really great. So from an aesthetic perspective, I think that you're going to have a nice experience within there. So overall, a lot of people have used Gleim CPA. If I'm not mistaken, Gleim CPA touts that over 1 million people have passed with Gleim CPA review. That says a lot. So I highly recommend that you check them out.